Hey guys, this is Marcus Strength Ministries with just a little more information for you today. Something I wanted to kind of get your questions on, your takes of what you think may be the case. Before I get into that message or that little study that I want to do, I want to read to you something that I got in the mail today. So I'm subscribed to this Voice of the Martyrs magazine, and they're speaking of China and the new law that has led to the crackdown on Christians. And again, I'm just going to read this short little article and then we'll get on with the scriptures. When Chinese officials paid a visit to the pastor of Zion Church, one of the largest unregistered churches in Beijing, they weren't there to negotiate. The pastor was given an ultimatum, allowing authorities to place a camera facing the congregation or close the church. Using the camera and the advanced facial recognition capabilities of China's security apparatus, the government would be able to identify everyone that attends the service and hear every word spoken in the church. After refusing to allow the camera in his church, the pastor soon faced the expected consequences. Dozens of uniformed officers from the District Civil Affairs Bureau raided a Sunday service and immediately closed the church. In August of 2017, the government announced new regulations of religious affairs to take effect in February of 2018. Even before the law came into effect, churches in certain parts of China were warned that teenagers could not allow the services or could not attend the services. In addition, house churches came under increasing pressure to join the government's controlled churches in the Three Self-Patriotic movement. And several churches were closed, and authorities also continued to shut down different Christian schools, with parents and students receiving warnings of the consequences for their involvement in the Western religion. Christians, meanwhile, waited to see how enforcement of the law would filter down from the national level to the local levels, since the enforcement can vary greatly from one level to the next. Several church leaders prepared for the worst, organizing small groups that would meet in different locations if their churches were to close. For most house church leaders, submitting to government registration and to control of the government requirements to much compromise. Officials decide when and where services are held, who can attend, and who can lead and what is taught. The government's effort to control religious activities quickly became apparent when the new law took effect in February. The online sales of Bibles are now, and since February of this year, have been prohibited. Significant setback in a country where printed Bibles are difficult for many to obtain anyway. Churches in Henan province were ordered to remove crosses and visible signage from the church buildings. Many churches were directed to replace posters or banners displaying Bible verses or pictures of Jesus with posters or banners displaying the Communist Party's slogans or propaganda. And officials forced many churches to begin services with the national anthem or Communist Party songs rather than hymnals. Pastors who didn't show enough interest in maintaining public order and cooperating with the Communist Party, officials found their churches harassed, threatened, and even closed. Churches were raided mid-service and pastors handcuffed in front of their congregation in this province. Well over 100 churches were closed down, with a number growing weekly. One county, home to more than 50 Protestant churches, where about 20 were ordered to close. Since September of this year, more than 300 pastors have signed public letters calling on China's government to stop attacking peaceful citizens and to honor China's constitutional promise of religious freedom. the president essentially given a lifetime appointment when presidential term limits were nullified in March. So martial law is coming into effect with China. Has positioned himself as a law and order, martial law, leader who promotes a Chinese culture free of outside influences, including, of course, religion. While China's constitution guarantees religious freedom, any unregistered religious expression is against the law prior to ascending to national office. The president led a government to crack down on churches where he was the official leader, and now, of course, he is the president. He has extended this crackdown from just Beijing to the entire nation of China. The church in China has a long history of standing up under persecution, even growing and expanding while suffering fierce oppression. This is what China's facing right now. I don't know if you can see this picture that I've got here in front, but this is their president, or their pastor, in handcuffs. Obviously, one of the police officers or whatever of the neighborhood saw that they were having churches and didn't like it and blah, blah, blah. Of course, he was dressed up, didn't play the police officer game. He was sneaking around, and he arrested him. And this was their church, this pastor's church, that they set on fire because it's the symbol of Jesus or the cross up here. Pray for China. China needs prayer more now than ever. Our people, Christian people, are offending others a lot, and they are getting persecuted because of it, because of their love for Jesus Christ. We, as God's people in America, will soon face the same judgment, and to some extent is already facing that judgment. And look around you, friends. This is the day and age in which we're living in. So I would ask you very kindly today, say a prayer for China. They deserve it. Christian brothers and sisters over there will soon, I believe, face murder, face being killed, whatever, because of their belief in Jesus Christ. Scripture tells us in Matthew chapter 24, and I'll read that to you again before I get into the real message. Matthew chapter 24, we're going to read verse 9. China will see this first. I believe that in all my heart. And then it'll just spread like a wildfire. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and you shall be killed. And they shall hate you of all nations for my name's sake. This, of course, is Jesus speaking here, telling us what we will soon see as Christians if we stand for Jesus. So again, I would ask you to stand for Jesus. I'm going to be sharing an encouraging word here shortly. I'm going to be asking the question, with this great deception coming upon us, and guys, I'm hoping you'll see this and you see it all around you. What will be the excuse that they use for the rapture of the church? Again, I plan on sharing this with you shortly. I look forward to it. We're titling this one Aliens/Fallen Angels. I'm going to go over a couple of scriptures and kind of give you my beliefs in what's going to take place, obviously, during the rapture, during that time. Again, we do not know the day or the hour, but Scripture tells us, according to the parable of the fig tree and several other places, that we will know the season in which the Father plans to return. And again, I'll share that with you guys shortly. Love you guys. God bless you, and we'll talk really soon. If you have any prayer requests or anything at all, please post in the box below. And again, this is Mark with Strength Ministries. Always in the Father's will, never in His way.